Hey folks, Dave here. I'm here for another stream of work in progress, and today we'll be working at Hassan's soon-to-be named Fort Liberty, and I've already begun this on the last stream. You'll have to forgive, I have a little bit of a cold on the last stream, and continue on here today. This particular stream this particular base is a designed to be a competitive base, so a base that outfits who are running player organized tournaments can use as a good stomping ground for their competitions. So let us continue. Yeah, did you like my my rel? That was my rel shot. Biggest form of flattery is imitation, right? All right. So here we have Fort Liberty now. It's a little bit different from what you may remember. And I have added some walls, as you may see. Interesting thing about how I've set this up is if you look at this sphere here, this big pink purplish sphere, very Vano colored, is the no deploy zone. It is also centered at where the capture point is, so it is almost exactly 100 meters in diameter, or not diameter, radius. And if you look at where I have placed the sunder garages, right at the edge of it is, at the entrance here where infantry may run out, is right where the no deploy zone ends. Same is true for this one. And the same is true for this one. And to show just how exactly it is matched up, this is not the spawn room. This is the teleporter room. The spawn room is right here, and this purple pinkish line right here is the other end of it. So quite literally where the defenders spawn and the attackers spawn is the same distance as the crow flies to the cap point. However, that's not the actual distance traveled. In the case of the defenders, I believe the fastest route that they can take is coming through this door, out, down through this little staircase, and into the cap point, which is pretty close to a straight shot. It's a little bit of a detour, but I do want the defenders to have a small distance advantage to getting to the cap point, at least at the shortest route. So if you watched me last time, you may have seen some of this get built up. You can see there's a lot more has been added in. I have cleaned up a lot of this tile work here with the staircase. I have put in this entryway, which was just like a thought at the last time I was here. I put this in as really a main entryway for the defenders to get down into the cap point, and also to add value to this here plaza where everyone will be fighting over potentially. Added some cover here so would-be attackers can try to hold off the defenders at this point. But this is not the only way the defenders can get into this area. The spawn room actually has 8 exits. We have 3 ground level exits. Well, I guess 2 ground level and 1 underground exit here, and then 1 rooftop exit comes up here. So if you spawn at this base, you have a lot of choices on where you want to go. And if you just kind of run straight, you'll either fall down into the drop down, takes you to the cap point, or you'll go around this way, which can also take you to the cap point. So if you follow the most direct route to the cap point, you'll get there. If you want to take the upper route, you can. Gives you some fire advantage down on people that may be camping one of these other exits. The drop down area takes you to this little kind of pit area, which is wide enough that you can use the sides as cover. I'm going to be putting some crates and things down here. At least some half cover, maybe some full cover right for the defenders. But if you're a defender and there's attackers camping down there, you can very easily clear out that whole area and then drop down and then work your way through. And I have built up a little bit of a labyrinth down here. I chose to use the walls this way so you actually get some interesting cover, as I set up with the green man here, showing that you do get some partial cover, but if you're firing from this position, they will be able to see your muzzle blast. Actually, if you go all the way against the wall, maybe they won't see it, but be pretty close. They'll see the tracers nonetheless. So to try to save objects on a lot of full cover here, I've used the sides of these walls and these walls themselves as your full cover. So mostly what's going to be in the middle here might be one piece of full cover, and the rest might be a couple boxes and crates giving you half cover. And intended people to kind of run around like ants and hug the walls. So if you run straight, there's not very long straightaways, so try to make it so you can, if you're a defender pushing out, there's only a few places you have to worry about at a time. Like watch that corner, watch that corridor. And then you can push out into the main courtyard, or you can come towards the cap point. There's also a connector area, which I need to clean up some of these rocks later. Tunnel that connects all the way through on the underside, so you could use a flanking route. So if one of these is camped, like over here, you can use the other one to flank it. Or you can use this exit and come down and flank it. There's a lot of flanking routes here. There's a lot of ways out. And this part is pretty much done, I think, from the spawn room. I just need to, as Klaus would say, doll it up. Add some pipes, add some lighting. Probably change some of these plants. Maybe more of these other plants over here, these water plants. And then I think I was going to put the window shields here, so you can't actually shoot out, but you can see out. And you can also see in. Thought that would be an interesting way to handle this cap point. The cap point's in the middle here, and it connects all the way around. And this is going to turn into another entrance once I get working on it. Probably work on it today with you guys. And on the opposite side, we also have kind of the same deal. This corner is really the one I've probably fleshed out the most. Where you come out, you got some cover pieces. You've got this swamp fight out here between the walls and the center structure. And if you are familiar with PlanetSide 1, this might look a little familiar to you. This is probably the closest thing I've been able to do in making this a PlanetSide 1 themed base. And the walls kind of resemble PlanetSide 1 style. And even the structure where I thought bringing more of the walls into the combat by making like a catwalk style bridge from the main structure out to the walls, just like it is in PS1. I thought that would be a good, interesting fight. And then over here, we'll be putting an entryway right here onto the walls for the defenders, so they can run out and get onto the walls. Now on this side is also probably the most completed attacker spawn point thus far. Along the outside of the walls, I was going to use these little grates. Besides looking like they kind of belong there. They're little water grates, I guess, but they also act as cover. If you are an infantryman, you can use these as cover, so when people run along the walls, they're not completely exposed. And also, if you got cover from above, you can duck down into the underside of the grate and kind of protect yourself from guys that might be trying to shoot you from up here. I put this might seem very strange to some people. Are like, why are you putting a ladder on the outside of the base walls? Aren't they supposed to keep the people out? The answer is yes, they are supposed to keep the people out, but this is still a game that I'm trying to make a competitive area. And I wanted to give the attackers some of the same treatment that I gave the defenders. Defenders have a lot of ways out here. They have a lot of ways to avoid getting spawn camped and a way to protect their exits out into the spawn. I want to do the same thing to the attackers. If the attackers manage to get up and control this area and deploy an AMS, possibly inside this little garage, they have this exit out into the interior courtyard. But I also want to give them ways up onto the walls so they can also protect that and cover the guys pushing out, so it's not just a meat grinder of a bunch of guys trying to shove their way through this little hole here, and that's just not good. So on either side, put up ways up onto the walls, and that's why these cover plates are actually facing interior, so guys can get up here and not have to worry about getting shot from the other side of the base and actually establish themselves and push out. And they could push out along the wall, they can cover this open area, push towards this spawn entrance, or push towards cap point entrance down under here and push this way. Or they could push towards the center here, which will have this, or push through here, which will also take them to the cap point. So I'm still kind of deciding how I'm going to hook up the bridge into the middle part here. But I kind of like roughly where this is, the idea being that the outsides of the base here, the side entrances, they give you wall access. And I think the front entrance here gives you more ground level access. I'm also going to put a couple small entrances in here for infantry to pass through on either of these sides. So potentially you could have 5 AMSs attacking this base simultaneously. One at each of the garages and then one at these 2 infantry entrances here. So I was also considering putting a lift right on the outside of this so they can use the top of the Sunday garage to get up here without getting shot at. In this little area, even though it's an attacker kind of strong point, defenders can also use it to push out. So if the defenders manage to control this area and blow up the Sunderer, they can use this to kind of push out into the swamp in this area as well. So one of the challenges I've had with this base is trying to make it accessible but not kind of ruin the attacker positioning. So this vehicle pad here has to be placed. So I'm trying to figure out where to place it. And I think the solution is going to be to have 2 vehicle pads, one on each side. And I want to put it like right on this wall, right around here. So I want to give the attackers the ability to shut down the vehicle access at this base and not have defenders just kind of running off the top, pulling a vehicle, and then driving up behind the AMS and blowing it up. So that's the goal I'm trying to do with this. I want to give the attackers control, and I want to give the defenders the ability to also fight for control and make this sort of a strategic position here. And of course requires some more cover and some other things happening. And if I do that, then really all of this can be much steeper terrain, and I can just put rocks here and make it so really this is defender only on the top of this rock here. And then we avoid things like, I mean, this hill will obviously be flattened so we don't have tanks just driving right over it and that sort of thing. But I think that from a competitive standpoint, I want to mirror the sides as much as I can and put the vehicle pad like right here and right here on each side. So if for whatever format the competition decides to have, if they want to have vehicles, at least this base will have an option to have them however they want to deal with it. And if they don't want to do vehicles, then it just becomes ignored, no big deal. But I also didn't want to create a lopsidedness to the base, where if you attack it from this side, it's much easier to take because the vehicle pad's on the opposite side. I want to put the vehicle pad on both sides, but then make it a little not quite as easy to go to. This does kind of go against one of our design principles, which is we want to try to put the vehicle pad or the vehicle terminal very close to the spawn, so players who spawn here can run out and easily get a vehicle. This is kind of a challenge of this particular base because the main spawn is under here. I could put it up by the teleporter, but you'd have to go through the teleporter to figure that out, which is not intuitive. So I think the best way to satisfy the desire to put the vehicle pad near the spawn is to really just put it right outside this door. So you run outside the door and then there's your vehicle pad. And that, I think, meets all the requirements of being balanced, being something the attackers could gain control of and even use to pull AMSs, and also be intuitive for the newer players or the players who may not be familiar with this base to come in and kind of figure out where they need to go. Go ahead and take a look back at some of these chat. I haven't been paying much attention. Sorry guys, while I've been explaining. Right, awesome. Fire the lifts on the outside of the walls. Yeah, that's because I want to give the attackers a decent chance. I think that if we don't give the attackers enough of a chance at these places, then you're not going to have good fights here. It'll be too hard for them to crack, and too easy for the defenders to just run along the wall and blow up the AMS. When attackers are on the wall, it becomes much harder, and we get actual good combat, I think, along these walls and the area in front of the walls. Best bases are the ones that break the rules. There's some rules I don't think should be broken, like the timing of attacker to defender. I think that's one of the rules, is you're saying that when the vehicle pad is, or not the vehicle pad, if you break the rules, sometimes you get bad bases. I think one of those rules that should always be followed is that the spawn distance between attacker and defender needs to be pretty close. And you can't have a situation, especially where the defenders have like twice the distance to travel as the attackers. So, yep. Let's see, we got some other questions here. I'm glad Shock likes the point placement. This whole area inside the walls is intended to be vehicle free. So this is infantry only fighting once you get inside here. And then the cap point is, of course, very secluded. There's lots of ways into the cap point. I think I've counted 6 entrances I want to put in here. This main top one is 1, and then there's 3 on each side. One is this way right through here, which is primarily a defender exit point, not so much of an attacker attacking point. But in the case of a competition match where there is no defender, that becomes basically, if you kind of look at it this way, you have a route through the top, you have a route through the middle, you got a route through the bottom. And there's 3 ways to the cap point from each of these 2 sides. So the base is designed to flow good crosswise, as well as from attacker defender this way. So I think that'll be good for competitive matches, giving you 3 options to get in there. This cap point is, I'm not sure whether it's too defensible or not defensible enough, but I think it's kind of interesting. I think if you stay in the cap point, you're not going to have a very good time defending it. I think you have to push out a little ways and kind of get over to these nooks and cover it from this direction, where you have less angles that can come at you. Like this would be a great spot, I think, for someone watching the point to hang out, depending on what's over here, what I end up putting over there. Someone coming from this side won't see you as they run in and then get shot. Someone coming from this side also might barely see you or might not see you at all, depending on how close you close the door. I can always move this wall in too if I wanted to create a little more of a hidey hole for folks. I can move that back. I'm going to kind of leave it there for now. But yeah, this is our under area. The sides need to be worked out, how the top connects in, cover around these points, and finishing up the walls is really what I have to do for now. One of the questions I had for the viewers was regarding how the walls interact with the center of the base. So what I was thinking was having infantry entrances right here. One of the challenges I have is that this spawn point in particular is almost a straight shot right to the cap point, which I obviously have to fix. One of the ways around it, I think, is I'm thinking of just sealing this off entirely and making this not an entrance into the base, making you go through this door, which will take you into here, this is how you get in from this side. Or you go in through here, which will have another kind of entrance in this way. Or you go around this side. So basically forcing one of the uses of these 3 sides and these 3 sides, and then making this not an entrance. This is just part of the interior fighting area. So that's one of the thoughts that I had on how to resolve that. Make the timing right. You can also park an AMS, I would think, right here almost, and get kind of a straight shot to the catwalks. But I want to place these bridges on the far side from the spawn, so that it's primarily an attacker area, and the defenders, if they want to use this bridge, have to fight through the base to get to it in order to flank around and go after these AMSs, because they're going to have a real easy time flooding through here. And then I've also kind of cleverly placed some trees here, because they're going to have this perch, the defenders will, up here, and I want to make sure they don't have great line of sight on this entryway or the top of this area. I want them to have to push down and clear it out, rather than just sit back and snipe or spam rockets and whatnot. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. What do you guys think so far? Like the direction, hate the direction, scrap the whole thing? Tell me what you think, guys. Roy's saying disable defender deploy inside the base. I think that while defenders can deploy in this area, the vehicle pad's going to be on the outside of the walls, so they won't be able to put an AMS in here. I'm expecting this base to be fought over really just with the spawn points at these locations, which are very fixed from each other in this circle, or by using spawn beacons as an advantage point as well. Or, of course, you got a Galaxy or Valkyrie hovering overhead. I guess you can use that too. It is kind of shaped like an octagon, isn't it? Only much more. It's different kind of walls on this on this octagon. Yeah, right. I have to be really careful about this area up here and make sure that AMSs can't get driven in and parked in there. But even if they do, I think I'm not too terribly worried about it, because I think that attackers have plenty of other options to get in. And it'd be sort of like Heyoka Chemical, little ways. Like defenders can put AMSs in there, but they don't last very long, and they're pretty easy for attackers to destroy. But that's partially due to tanks having a shot on them pretty much across the water. But yeah, this is kind of a combination of all the different bases that I've made and different learnings from them, different principles of the design. So I'm hoping this turns out pretty well. So yeah, I'll deal with this stuff probably is off camera, all this whole area, and fix that up. But for now, I think let's work on some of this combat area in here, in this fighting, and these entryways into the cap point. These are major flow contention points, and I would love your feedback on what you think there. First question: what do you guys think about giving wall access to this position as well? The initial idea was the good wall access was on this spawn point and this spawn point, whereas this spawn point was not so much good wall access. What do you think about that? Should I do the same treatment over here and give them wall access as well, or have them run around the wall into this way or come through here? Doombro, the only way that defenders or the attackers have this wall access is if they can defend this wall. The defenders still have the height advantage over here on overlooking parts of the wall on top of the, even have it up here on top of here, and they'll have it way up here as well. So I was thinking about putting a canopy, one of those canopy pieces along here, just to make it so attackers can actually move in without getting completely swamped or cut off from height advantage. But the defenders are basically going to have this entire rooftop to themselves and to fight down. But yeah, Roy makes an interesting point. I want the fighting to also include this upper deck, and I had a few different ideas about that. I'll let you guys think about it. One is I want to connect up this this bridge over into this area, and also put a little staircase structure kind of leading up here. So there's two ways to get up to the top from this structure. Another thought is I could actually seal this wall up right here and make this not an entrance, and take the cap point down from 3 entrances on a side, basically to 2 entrances on a side. One entrance down here and one entrance here, or they have to fight for this back entrance. So by restricting the number of entrances, I can bring importance to the other ones. So if this gets bottled up on one of these two sides, then the attackers would have to fight across the top in order to get access from this way and come in from behind, or they have to fight through over here closer to the defender spawn. So that's one thought that I could do to handle the entrance ways, and then have something basically right in here just lead up into this top portion. Like maybe there's just a staircase right here that leads you up onto the upper platform. So if you run straight in from the AMS, You go up some stairs, take you up here, and then you run down into there to get in, or you run up the stairs and run here and run down these stairs to get into the cap point. So then basically I would seal this and I would seal this. So this building, these two buildings are keyways in, and this back is a keyway in. And then of course fighting over this top plaza. That was one idea I had. The other one is to actually add light bridges on these catwalks and put the light bridge control panel like something like right here or in this building. And when you flip the control panel, you'll flip the bridge, and that would give them more access in, but not so sure about how that would work out. Bring the upper path to the front middle and stairs on the sides. So you mean upper path here? Kind of having a hard time understanding what Roy is meaning. Stairs on the sides, yeah, like stairs right here. I like the idea of stairs here because I think that creates more fighting on this plaza, because holding this point becomes important for fighting off the attackers. And if there's some trees and rocks in here, then they're going to have some covered approaches up to the stairs, forcing the defenders kind of get down into the swamp and fight them. Yeah, so you're talking about bringing this out over here, Roy? Yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing with the bridge. Like bring the bridge over, have it connect right around here, and then wrap this around on the front. Put in some mirror holes here and here, and then seal this up. Probably get rid of this tree. This tree is probably not needed by tree. So seal this up, and then kind of make the path to go through that building to get to the cap point, which is still pretty close to fast, but if I put some rocks and things in here, that'll slow them down because I'll have to run around the rocks in order to get to the cap point. I can also put like a wall barrier right here, which will also slow down the pathway from this AMS directly into the cap point. If there's a little wall here, it'd go out into the middle here. Yeah, so let's do the seal front approach. I think that seems like a good idea. Folks seem to like it. We'll do the seal front approach. We'll work on this here and bring in these bridges on the side like that, and then work on the front and just work in this whole area. We'll put some other trees, probably like right in here, but that tree was in the way. I'll definitely have something blocking this because I don't want a straight shot right across through these two buildings. That would kind of suck. And these buildings aren't perfectly aligned, but we'll handle that later. So let's start by getting some walls. Everyone's favorite wall piece, the dreaded Asimir walls. Looks like I have to make one or two of these a little shorter. Maybe. This might work. I'm going to eyeball this one. Okay, how does it look on the sides? It's actually kind of hard for me to see. I got this bright light shining in my face. A little hard to see. Crap, that's going through. Nope, can't have that. Can already see Tramel's reaction to that right there. He's like, nope, gotta fix that. I've got to fix this too. Can't have plants going through the ground. Okay, so I'll shrink these down a little bit, at least on one of the two sides. So I think I need to do on this side first. Yeah. The old Clegg trick. Just rescale it. So this one was scaled to 0.710. All right. Fixed. Well, nope, not quite. Need to be a little wider. Okay. All right, step one to the ceiling. This is kind of tricky because of the shape of this building. That actually comes pretty close. Oh, not quite. Okay. I think the final step will just be extending the ceiling over. I can make this a little interesting. I don't think I can stretch this guy too much or the texture starts looking really bad. So I'll put one crosswise instead. Looks about right. Oh, this looks, it's going to look great. Up to the edge there. Now the trick is matching it up on this side. So that looked out pretty good. All right. Hopefully this lighting doesn't look too bad. Hard to see on this. Let's go to Hassan. Let's go to Hassan at night. Okay, that light still looks good. Draws attention to the fact that there's a doorway there. Not so much on that one though. It's a little further. Doorways are just a little bit off on each side. So the staircase is floating a little bit, so I'll have to bring up the ground. I'd prefer to bring up the ground rather than put objects underneath. I'm trying to keep my object count down. It's actually one of the reasons I use these walls here, because these have pretty high fidelity and lots of cover points all along them. But it's really only two objects. Like here is just I got the little base and then the bridge piece, and that this whole like wall structure is, I don't know, probably like 20 objects, except at junction points like this where I have to be creative. And that's really hard to see. Go back to map render. There we go. So like these junction points is where I have to use a few more objects, but the main bridge points itself are pretty object light for all of what we get out of it. So it's big bang for the buck on these walls, allowing the greater fidelity here in the middle. So now the tougher part is getting these tiles to line up right. Hopefully they're the right height. Okay, they are going to be the right height, just barely. But they're too wide. So there's a couple ways I can solve this. I kind of like roughly cutting the tile right there. So instead of using a 4x4, I can use like a 2x2. I just happen to have one right over here. I think this is a shortened one. No, it's not. It's just not quite lined up yet. So I could do something with this or just extend it one tile over, which I think I may have to do, but I don't want to do that because it means I have to use a lot more objects. So see if there's a way I can resolve this without using that many objects. Keep this catwalk here relatively low cost. And if you're a viewer wondering why I'm concerned so much about objects, it is for performance. I want you to have a good frame rate when you fight here. And having tons of objects will impair that. So that works out pretty well. Yeah, I would rather fix this ceiling rather than, uh-oh, that's not good. This whole building is slightly higher than the other one. Well, I know a solution. Fixed. Yeah, I like this bridge also how it's not perfectly lined up with the other bridge. So when you come here, you have a choice. You can take the outside route or the inside route. You take the outside route, you can fight other people coming off the bridge. This could be some good long-range combat right through here. Yeah, like that, right? Lower the building. I think Clegg's solution would have been to rescale the building. Yeah, I guess it's okay if this is a little bit off. Oh, crap. Well, I wonder if I can reel in this wall slightly. If I can bring in the wall. This door is really tight. I really can't bring it much closer than that. I guess I could, technically. I like pulling in the wall though, because it also adds a little bit of cover off the edges here if I pull it in far enough. But it doesn't look like I'll be able to do that. Yeah, that's not bad. I probably want to take it all the way to the edge. Alright, just enough. I think it's okay. That's right on the wall like that. One advantage of this side is you don't have to worry about that corner. This side, you kind of have to worry about that corner as you come out. So there are going to be some small asymmetrical differences on this map. There's not really much I can do about it. The buildings are shaped differently. Even our square building has some slight differences in it. I'll try to minimize that wherever possible. Another one that I can't really avoid is this building doesn't have a door on this side. This one does. So there's going to be some slight differences between these two maps and how they're going to play out depending on which side you're attacking. These two buildings are also not quite the same. And this building has different entrances at different places. Alright. Sealed. And we'll have another decision here for the stream. We'll let you guys decide. I may put weight on certain opinions over others. But what do you think? Seal this up, make this an entrance, or force the gameplay through here, or up on the top, down and through there, or on this side? What do you think? The alternate would be I would put a staircase right here. Seal this and put a staircase up. I think this is interesting gameplay now, with this sealed up here, between the two doors. One of the things I can also do is do what I did here. And close off this. So if you come out, you don't have that direct shot on the other side. I need to flatten this terrain, it's driving me crazy. I'll go back and add like some texturing there so it's not just all flat water like this and you have some water or some dirt and some shrubs and stuff. I'll doll it up later, as Klaus would say. And then put some cover, like maybe right in there. You could put another wall cutting out here so it's not quite a direct shot to the cap point. Wait, what did I just do? Oh, I'm still on the level brush. Derp. So yeah, I could come in and do something of this nature too, and put a little blocker. Force some combat right through here. So talking about this opening here, Vonix says tighten it up and obstruct it, but don't seal it. Okay, I can do that. So what I think I will do then, since most folks wanted to leave it open, and and also like the stairs approach, what I will do is tighten this up and then put in, I think I'll put the entrance in right here so it's not like directly firing on that cap point. And then you'll come in, you'll go right or left, and then you'll go to the cap point. And then I'll build the staircase on top of that entrance. So you go under into the stairs, or you go over up above the stairs onto the plaza. How does that sound? So one question I have here is, where is the base on the map? So if this is your map of Hausen, this is where the base is, right there. So it's pretty close to the northwest warp gate. Oh, Vonik is talking about this entrance. Oh, obstruct this, don't seal it. That's what you're saying. Yeah. Hey, I don't get to pick where I put the base, sorry. Well, you never know. I mean, if this base design works out pretty well, maybe this could be a stamp base, because most of the terrain is actually flat here with the exception of the stuff around the spawn room. So, because this whole valley is really based on the same level of terrain. So if this works out pretty well, it could potentially be duplicated elsewhere. The only thing that need to be fixed up is the terrain around the spawn area here, and that's it. Because the rest of it's all just objects built on almost a flat terrain. Block line of sight from, oh, you mean opposite ends of where you enter. Are you referring to here, Vonik? Blocking line of sight here? Or are you talking about blocking line of sight from over here? Because that's what I was doing with this right here with these two pillars. I was blocking line of sight straight across to the other entrance. And that's also why I put in this whole structure here, like this wall, was to block the line of sight straight across from the defenders, so you don't have this like 150 meters straight away. And you can actually approach this direction. So he's talking about, we'll call this the front entrance, just for clarity. So if you're talking about this entrance, this is now the front entrance. And then these will be the side entrances. And then this will be the spawn entrance. So there we go, terminology. So when you said obstruct, you mean don't completely seal this, Vonik? Like leave this actually open? I do kind of like the idea of forcing the gameplay through the sides here, around to each side. I think the great advantage of this front position on spawning is that you can go either way. You have choices which way you want to go, or you can go around to the side. The interior. So he's talking about this. LOS from door to point. So here, these points. Twitch delay kind of sucks. Yeah, you're not the only one, Synthesis. Got it. Hey, getting feedback isn't always easy sometimes. Yeah, I haven't added any hardcover. I was just focusing on the main, like, solid blockers at this point. It would kind of suck, though, if you're coming in this way and there's a guy coming in from that door and you get shot in the butt trying to push towards the point. This whole, like, area here does seem a bit insecure. So you got to worry about the guys at the cap point coming from that direction. You got to worry about the guys coming from behind you. Another option would be I could completely seal this, like cut this all straight across so these don't actually connect. So you have to go through the cap point or above and around in order to get across. What do you guys think of that? Just sealing this wall all the way across and then adding some cover through here. Yeah, so Vonic wants me to get rid of the gray wall. Just replace it with cover. Yeah, the ceiling idea is this, basically. Something along those lines. Where if you want to get to the cap point, you're completely cut off, and then you have to fight through the cap point in order to get there. So it puts a lot more emphasis on the cap point itself. And if you're attacking from the front, from this side, you can actually go through both. And that adds importance to the top now, because the top is a way that you can actually cross sides. You can come from the top, cross over, come in through this building, and go down to get to the other side. Kind of liking that approach. I like how it funnels you more towards the cap point. What's the window seal approach? Oh, window shield. Oh, I see what you're saying. Haha, I like that. I like that approach, at least for this one right here. That could be pretty badass here. Just put like a see-through shield right through here, so you can't actually get at the guys on either side, but you can see them over there. That's interesting. Might be a little confusing, because you might see them over there and not be able to, but I mean that's what the other place does. I like it also because the windows make it seem more open, so it doesn't seem like you're in like playing Wolfenstein like you are over here. That's why I need to doll this up, so it's not like, hey, welcome to 1993. Okay. I think one of the things I could do is rotate this so it matches. I need a base to the window. Creating the ceiling will be kind of rough, but I can create the base pretty easily enough by doing this. So what's player height is here. Kind of neat. Like looking at a fishbowl, you see people on the other side. I can't get to them. Muffin machine gun. I think that's a problem with the shields themselves. Like we did a pass on shields, making some of them opaque, and I think that in the process of doing that, it may have affected some of the ones that are not opaque. Yeah, I really liked how the windows turned out on Nazen's Defiance. When I put those in. So now I just need to find the right shield asset here. Trying to remember where the heck it was. Oh wait, how about search works. Search didn't work for the longest time. Save. I was trying to. The fun part is finding out which shield is the right one. Okay, it's the spawn shield. That's not quite the one I want. I want the one without markings on it. Oh wow, there's so many of these. Aha, wait, this might be it. No, it's got the spawn indicator on it. There is a magic shield here somewhere that does what I want it to. So let everyone know, at right at 5 o'clock I'm going to have to shut it down, but I plan on resuming immediately after. I just need to shut it down so it ports correctly to YouTube, and then I restart it. So just letting everyone know that as we get close to that time, you don't need to leave. I'll still be here doing stuff. So, as I find the correct shield from our long list of shields. Green, that's pretty cool. Wait, this might be it. This might be it. I think we found a winner. If I recall correctly, this actually has collision on both sides, so I don't have to worry about that. There we go. I think the double pane makes it pretty obvious that there's a shield. So come in, clear this area, fight towards the cap point. You can see other people fighting towards the cap point. And you go in. Okay, I think this adds value. Doing this ceiling here, I like the window approach. It's really good. I think that makes it seem not so claustrophobic down here, and it also adds value to the top. Because if you want to get over to the other side, you come up to the top here, you fight across, and then you fight down. It's kind of a long roundabout way. But that is a way to flank, or you come across and just go down the stairs here and drop it on this side. So there's cross routes. I'm happy to know I'm going to be remembered for my awesome window making. Thank you guys. Yeah, I think the width of it kind of sells it, so you can kind of see that it's actually like a big force field and it's not something you can shoot through. I could do the same over there. I think that might overdo it. I don't want to overdo it. Yeah, unfortunately, this is not in the center of Hassan. It's near the northwest. It's construction site Delta's remake. I can't wait to be able to doll this up. Put some pipes in here. Put some other sort of furnace-y looking equipment down here. That'd be kind of neat. Window licking window. Nice, Oblivion, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's the one I was working on last week. It's just a little bit more progressed. I did a lot more stuff as I've been playing around with it. Well, look on the bright side. If you have this northwest warp gate, you've got a reason to hold out and defend because you can get fight at this base. And if you're pushing towards the northwest warp gate, you've got a cool reason to keep pushing and push all the way so you get to fight at this base. But I'm glad you guys like it, and I think it's a good sign that doing the right things with it. But now I think I need to figure out what else I'm going to do down here. I could put in like another one of these little wall blockers. Kind of segregate it. I mean, that's too big. Segregate it a little bit. And then put some cover through here as well. I kind of want to block the main line of sight from the door to the cap point, like right like that. So as you come out, you're not getting shot from that far away. And then cut through here. Okay. I think I'll bring this wall out a little bit. I think I gotta scale it up to fit. You might wonder, why is all this water inside the base? Well, I'll put a drain or something. Then you can believe there's water in the base. The water in the base is actually something that we wanted to... actually, wow, I really like this, because the wall just draws your eye right to that window, which looks pretty cool. As you come through here, because that wall's there, forces you to look through the window as you run by. That turned out really well. I like how that happened. It's all because of you guys. You, the viewers, made that happen. So whenever you're fighting here, you will know. I have to slightly off-center these, or I get weird Z-fighting. There we go. Place the ugly blocker walls. Well, I'm trying to keep the walls the same kind of theme down here. Whenever I can. I mean, this kind of looks more like an accent wall at this point, but I'm going to be putting some other props in here, like pipes and things, and I'm trying to keep my object count down, so that's why I'm using the walls to do that. I can try to put some more props in here, but that's, again, more objects, so I'm trying to create a balance between what I can do and also the performance of the area. I want to keep this performant as you fight through here. I really like this approach as you come through, especially if I have some water plants over there like that. It kind of looks really cool. You come in, you're immediately drawn to the shield, and then you push in towards the cap point. And if you're kind of holding the cap point, you can kind of watch that side. I also like the shield because it's a nice breakup of the rest of it, and it becomes almost a landmark, like where the shield is or where the window is, where the big window is. But the water is also being used because this is Hausen, and we want to accent the theme of Hausen, which is the swampy, murky water, and put that pretty much everywhere, even invading the bases. So, I mean, it's a swamp; they can't keep the water out. So, or it's sinking, however you want to put it. So it's very obvious that you're on Hausen when you have a base that's kind of like this. So, trying to think if there's any other places down here where a window would make sense, but none of these other walls are really like that. That one's the only one. So this, I think this forces more fighting over the control point, because you can't really go around this way. You have to go through this point. You can go around over here, which is a little nook, and also up through here, which I think is okay. It also adds a little bit more security to this zone. So as I think I mentioned before, when you came down here, I felt like this is very insecure because you could just get shot from that direction. This alleviates that. You now have the security from this side. Perfect. I really like this a lot. I like how this turned out. All right. So we've gotten this interior portion sorted. I'll doll it up later and add cover later. Whoops, I need wall on the other side too. This one may be a little, I don't know, it's a little easier to block this one. Because the capture point room is a little, it's just a slight asymmetry with the building. I think Roy's correct. It was like 130 on each faction for PS1. Maybe got up into the 160s, maybe. Alright, cool. Neat interior. Might be able to use that window stuff. Actually, I did want to use it in one other place down here. I wanted to use it on the cap point. I could just block off, like with a murder hole or something. But I wanted to seal up the shield this way. Or seal up the window by making it a window. There you have it. You can see out, but you can't shoot them. So again, I just want to open it up so you can, so it doesn't seem so claustrophobic. The windows. And we got another one on this side. So still using the same number of objects, I'm just doing it with a window instead of a murder hole. Since I already used that object here, I'll just reuse it. Over here is also good for performance. We want to reuse objects wherever you can. Showing it at night, Drummy, will look pretty bad right now because I haven't done a lighting pass on it. So yeah, it looks fairly awful. But I'm going to be putting lighting through here, and we'll get it lit up. And I was thinking of using different color lighting in certain parts just so you keep your orientation. Like making it kind of green near the spawn room and making it kind of red or yellowish towards this end. That was one of my thoughts. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, and we got this top side coming along. So let's connect up these bridges and see how this is all going to work together. I think what we want to do is have a staircase here with a tunnel like right in this way, and then go from there. Now I put this wall right here. Oops, where am I at? I put this wall right here because I was expecting the entryway to be right through here, and I wanted to block across line of sight. So that wall doesn't necessarily have to go there, especially if I build it out right here. I am a little worried about this being too short of a path into the spawn, into the cap point though. If you cut around this way, you cut right in. I'll have to add some obstructions on the outside, so players have to run around and in. I could put it almost like a little tunnel where you kind of come in on this side and you have to run in and through, and that's kind of like an L shape. That might be one way to do it. Add some timing, add some distance to the run, so it's not as straight shot. Okay. So let's put all this together. What I wanted to do with this is make this just sort of a balcony, a sniper roost. You come up, because I liked the line of the sight lines that you get from up here, and if this is a little platform, this would be a pretty sweet sniper cover. I mean, obviously I put some more trees and stuff in here, but it's a good overwatch position, but it can be flanked from the sides, from the bridges, so I think that's pretty cool. And of course you can also get flanked for just a guy running up behind you and knifing you or something. The yellow orbs are light sources. For the person who's asking about yellow orbs, these are light sources. I'll just turn them off for now because they're kind of just distracting. I'm not doing a lighting pass, and when I do the lighting pass, then I'll go through and turn it dark and then go from there. Okay, so let's see how this works in. So there's a little bit of a height difference here between this bridge and this platform. So one way I can resolve this. Oh, it sucks. It's just barely too small. I'll have to get an object to plug that up. So this is not quite, I mean, I could just put stairs to fix that. I don't think I'll put this platform here. I want this a little more narrow than this. This is a little bit big, but I don't know, that might work out. Especially if I put stairs on this side as well. My only concern is if I'm attacking from this front entrance, I don't want to have all my ways, you know, I just don't want to be in a shooting gallery with a bunch of guys up there shooting down on me or shooting through the windows or whatever, and then have no way up myself. So what I could do instead right here is put a staircase up. So if you're attacking from this side, you can go up and in that way, or from the sides. So I'll probably do a staircase sort of like this one, where it's kind of split. I don't know if I showed you guys this before. This is what I made after the last stream was over. I kind of cleaned up this whole area and made this down steps. When I was making it, I thought it would be kind of neat to not have just a straight T-junction and have a little nook off to the side that you can use to cover and push out, and also give the fighting in this area just a little bit more room so it's not so cramped. Looks like it worked out pretty well. And I like the plants and things in there as well. But a kind of a two-stage staircase, sort of like this one, will go over here. So let's add that in. One nice advantage of this base, though, is because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, in the open plain, there's not a lot of other objects around, so I could probably be a little bit more open with my object usage than I would normally be able to. If it was like, for example, next to a biolab, I would be much more cautious. Something like this. So if you're attacking from this side, you can get to the cap point by going through either of these doors, or by going up right here, which will give you bridge access. So I don't necessarily have to give them bridge access here, although I kind of want to. I'll deal with that later. Let's fix this up first. Yeah, I think this staircase will suffice. I don't need to go too crazy with it. Although it seems kind of small, or needs to like be a higher terrain elevation, which I can do this guy. Let's make it, let's try 6 meters. How's that look? 6 meters, right? It's really hard for me to see this. It's light in my light in my eyes right here. Okay. This will work out. The trick is how to handle this little area. One approach is I could make this like a little pathway you could take. Yeah, I can take a little pathway here. Okay, I'll create, just for the infiltrators out there, and maybe as a Vonic secret, perhaps, if this is used for tournament play. I'd be very sad if it wasn't. I'll make this a tunnel here. Now I just need to seal up. Yeah, look at this object saving space here. Gotta take care of this weird angle with one object. Whoops. I think I did that wrong. Some of you may have noticed I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist. It's like off by a pixel, it'll drive me crazy. Alright, so there's one. Okay, so now we got our little staircase here. All I need to do is apply one more corner piece. Where did it go? Actually, that's kind of a more interesting ceiling than the actual tiles that are there. I think that's looks more pipe-ish. So let's make it a little bit bigger, drop it a little bit. And make it wider. Just drop the terrain a little bit. Now you've got a little infiltrator hidey hole. I think that turned out pretty well. Okay. I think I'll do at least 3 of those on each side. I'll set up other railings along here. But we're not quite done. Nope, staircases require a bit more than this. Common That's not the right one. Can't tell if that's the right one. It's one of these two. Not that one. That one. Bam. Just like that. Except that's not quite that easy on the other one, because this is off by a slight amount that will drive me crazy if I don't fix it. Just making sure I didn't have two of those. And there's a proper staircase. And I think we can bring back our old friend the tree now. Okay, he's maybe a little bit big. Okay, that at least protects the main staircase from some direct spam from directly across from the bridge. They can kind of get it from this angle, I guess. But those attacking... There we go. That gives them some air protection, I guess. The tool I'm using is a custom in-house terrain editor. So now I gotta be real careful with this terrain here, because some of it's kind of doing this behavior. So I'm gonna fix it by being very careful and using my old friend the level brush. So I can't see through the water how big my brush is. Okay. Could also fix this by raising this terrain here actually a little bit, giving it some dirt in the corner. It's probably not a bad thing. See how it looks when I get done. I mean, this water line really doesn't need to be perfect like this. Could probably use to be a little bit higher, but it's not. Doesn't look like it's showing up. Oh yeah, right there. Yeah, this is the problem I'm running into. So I'm going to fix this by, well, just making a dirt pile in the corner. Put some weeds over there or something. Actually, I have to raise this anyway because these staircases are a little bit up high. I'd prefer not to use an object to fix that. So I'll just have some mud through here. And then we'll go into water from there. Right around the window, we'll have our okay. That doesn't look too bad. Fixes a couple problems and allows this to be raised up without looking crazy. I wonder if that might be too small. It's showing me able to run through it. Actually, I can run through anything. You might have to crouch to get through this. Or I can lower the terrain a little bit through here. Let's try that. Let's lower it to like 6.2 or so. That's not going to be enough. That's better, but still not enough. There, I've lowered this by a full meter. That should allow to clear. Okay, guys, how do you like our stairwell to the top there? Normalize everything. I guess I do kind of normalize things. I'm actually intentionally making this normalized because I want this to be a good competitive base, so it has to flow well in this direction. So I'm thinking about how it flows this way as well as this way and this way, of course. But there's basically these flow directions I am thinking about, especially this cross flow path. So I don't want to leave a very significant symmetrical difference across the two sides, or that creates an imbalance for the competitive mode. And since this is a base off in the kind of by the warp gate, I think it's okay to give it some concessions in favor of competition, because normal gameplay is probably not going to be super common here. Okie dokie. So what next? I think these bridges need to be hooked up and then work on this, like one of these sides over here. I think that's the next step. This same staircase structure here might actually work really well over here, because I could do that same structure, just copy paste it over, and then build out on the underside of it. Use this little underpath here to be your entranceway into the base. Would be kind of weird though, if you're coming up on it, you might not see it. See that entranceway under there, but it might work. Might have to be a little different. Do I still have Vonik and Shock and Roy in here? Or anyone else interested in competitive play? Want to know if you think I've done anything terrible. If I've done anything terrible yet. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Watch as I close two windows with one object. Pro. This is so pro right here. Boom. And boom. Look at that. Two objects, four windows. Done. That's not a one-way shield. That would be really bad if that was a one-way shield. Nope, that's just a window. I think that having this as a window as opposed to a sealed up murder hole, if it's a normal murder hole, then someone could toss a grenade through there if they're, well, actually grenades are kind of the size of beach balls, so maybe not. But rockets could be fired in there. Some grenades might be able to be thrown through there. But I think what it does do is it kind of makes it easier for those on the outside to kind of look inside. Actually, the height difference is actually pretty low. Yeah, you can't really see inside too well from there, but you might from up on the wall. And you can see if guys are camping in there, and then you can come down and, you know, put a grenade in the right place. That's right, Roy. 2 windows, 1 shield. How to handle this bridge. So I kind of want to put a little bit of a slope on it. Yeah, I think I'm going to see how this works, just shifting it down maybe 5 degrees, maybe 2 or 3 degrees, just to put a small slope in this, which I think is interesting, because I think a slope gives the attacker a little bit more of an advantage, because they can stagger each other and more easily shoot each other, or not shoot each other, shoot over each other. Whereas if you're assaulting up the slope, you have the opposite problem, where you have a harder time seeing the targets and an easier time shooting your teammates, I guess. Light bridges would be possible here. I could do a light bridge action, but I'm kind of not really seeing the value. I mean, I think the light bridge has a lot of value if I seal this. If I seal this and put a staircase here and put the light bridge control like right in here, then I think that adds a lot more value to fight over here, because opening up the light bridge becomes a faster path for the normal grunts to get over into this area and possibly down into this. Because if you have an AMS like parked right here, for example, you can take the lift up and run right across the light bridge and, you know, down into the base. Or if it's on this side, where's the other side? If it's on this side, it's a little bit easier to run straight across into the doorway and down and into the cap point. But I'm not sure if that's enough of a advantage to warrant making it a light bridge, to pay the NPC tax of the light bridge. One thing I did want to do in this building is put an equipment terminal in here. Like, make that one of the strategic uses of this building, is having an equipment terminal right there. And then the strategic uses of these 2 buildings are, they're part of the cap point path, and then these 2 buildings are partially obstructing the courtyard and also giving you the overwatch. So that's the purpose of all the buildings there. You know, light bridges are cooler than regular bridges, but it also involves a lot more objects and NPCs as well, because I'll have what, 2 bridges plus the terminal. That's 3 NPCs. So try 5-degree angle, see what happens. Okay, 5 is way too much. Needs to be maybe 1. Is this really a 1-degree slope? I think it is. Perfect. It's exactly a 1-degree slope. I don't think it's screwed up. I'm cleverly using fence posts here to hide the seams. Once I show you this, you won't be able to unsee it. So yeah, I have these seams here, and I'm just using those posts to hide all of that. Oh crap, small problem. These didn't perfectly line up. This may actually be a 1/2 degree. Well, no. Looks about right. Ever so slightly off there. Alright. Time to make it 1.1 degrees. The fun parts of level designing, measuring this stuff. And then making it symmetrical on the opposite side. It's much more easier just to slap something down asymmetrically. Okay. Still think it might be slightly high there. Crap. Needs to be 1.2. Okay, that's about as good as I'm going to get it. So here's our slope. Whoops, that doesn't. Why did it fall through there? Oh, it's just probably the first person camera being bad. Okay. One thing I like about this is this gives me the opportunity to add a little bit more distance coming from here. Well, I guess no, it's fine. That's an okay distance path. The distance path I'm worried about is this one. If I come from here, I can have a straight run all the way, basically into the cap point. That needs to be a little bit longer, so I can do that with obstructions over here. I don't have to mess with this. So this does need to be beefier though. This little thin platform just doesn't sell it for me. Uh-oh. That's my alarm telling me I need to shut down the stream. But I will restart it, so just stick around for just a moment. I have to turn this off so it's one clip on YouTube. And then I will restart the stream about 10 seconds after it shuts down and continue working. So stick with me here, guys.